In a world where success is often measured by how loud you speak, how fast you climb, or how much you accumulate, what happens when a leader decides to take a different path? Ron Alvesteffer didn't grow up with wealth or privilege. He was raised in a small town in Michigan where values were passed down more than money, where hard work meant helping your neighbor, and faith was the foundation. Like many of us, Ron started at the bottom. No shortcuts, no handouts. But what set him apart was his heart and his vision.
I never thought I would be in the same company for this long. I thought, back in my mid-20s, when I joined, I was just like probably people in their mid-20s today. I mean, I was restless, and you're moving around, you're looking for opportunities, and honestly, I thought I'd probably be here 3 to 5 years and move on to another position. And 27 years later, I'm still here. I think for me, again, it's just been an amazing opportunity. And that's what I really, when I talk about Service Express, and I greet all of our new hires, the cohort of new hires. I meet them, we do a video call together, and I tell them, if you came here looking for a job, this isn't for you. It's not just a job. It might be cliche, but really think of this as an opportunity. You have an opportunity to really invest in yourself and grow with an amazing company surrounded by amazing people here at the company. And that's what's kept me here. That's my story. And the fun part about this journey is, every 5 years or so, I feel like because of the growth, because of the opportunity, new initiatives, new strategies, whatever, it almost feels like a new job every 5 years, because now I'm on to something else within the company. Not necessarily a different title or position, but just a new initiative, a new strategy that's exciting and energizing. And you go tap, what's it take to get from, you said it, from 3 million to 10 million? What's it take to get from 10 to 20? When we were 10 million in revenue, we set up a BHAG, that's a Jim Collins term, who wrote Good to Great and Built to Last, a big, hairy, audacious goal. We said, we're going to be 100 million in revenue by 2020. And, people are like, we're crazy. We're just trying to figure out how to get to the next step. I know, but that's the journey, and we're going to figure out how to do that. And the fun that you have along in the journey and the new and different things that you do, that's what's always kept it fresh and exciting for me. And so we accomplished that goal. Now it took me 20 years to do that. Now we've done it 2 more times in the last 5 years. And now we want to go to $1 billion and above, not just to be a bigger company, but just because the opportunity is there. And what can we do for people and with people to get there? That's the fun in the journey. It's really about the people you work with, the customers you serve, the partners that you connect with, the connections you make like this today. That's all part of the fun and the opportunity we have.
As Ron rose through the ranks, he realized something. Leadership isn't about being the loudest voice in the room. It's about listening, serving, elevating others. Ron transformed his company culture, putting people first, not just performance metrics, not just bottom lines.
That's exactly how we're built, and that's exactly the mission. And we have a robust performance measurement system we use as we track that value and the results from a company basis, department basis, location, right down to individuals. Every individual at the Service Express, including myself, has an individual measurable job description that says, here's what you're responsible for, here are the goals, and we fill it out every month, and we share it with our leaders and say, here's how we're performing. And so people who want to perform and want to achieve like being at Service Express. People who want to hide, who don't want to perform, who do want things given to them, they're not going to like it here. And by the way, it doesn't mean they're bad people. They could be great people. It just means they're not the right fit for what we're doing here at Service Express. But being rewarded for that value you bring, that's the basis of that core value. And we have what we call vision talks, which are twice a year. People, they write down their goals. We collect them online on our intranet. They're private for the person whose goals they are. And twice a year, they have a vision talk with their leader where they share their goals. Here's what I want to achieve at Service Express. Here's what I'm looking to accomplish through Service Express. And so the leader works with them, not to hand out. We're not the gold genie where we just say, you get this, you get that. But it's, okay, how do we develop you? How do we position you? What opportunities are there, for you to go out and achieve those goals? And that's really the basis. And when I have those vision talks, even with my executive assistant, when we sit down, she's got over 2 pages of goals that she's achieved since she's been at Service Express. I love it. That's how we start our meeting. And then she said, now here's what I want to do next. And those are such exciting conversations. And if we can get that right, and we're not perfect at it, but when we get that right, that's what opens up all the doors for us, all the opportunities to keep building this great company.
But Ron's secret to success wasn't just strategy. It was surrender to something far greater than himself.
We have been blessed. I'm a Christian myself. I do believe it's a God thing who's blessed us and guided us on this journey. And they say I read a book once that talked about praying bigger prayers and impossible prayers. And I'm like, when I joined, I couldn't have thought this big. This wasn't in my plans. I was just thankful to have the opportunity. But it's turned into something far bigger than I could have ever dreamed or really probably prayed for. It's been a huge blessing to me and so many people. And that's our story, is trying to create the best company we possibly can that can be a blessing to so many other people. I have a quote outside my office here. It's really my life quote, which is from Zig Ziglar. It says, you can get everything you want out of life if you just help enough other people get what they want. And it's really a servant leadership mentality and model. And that's how Service Express has been built. And that's still our guiding light as we continue to build and grow forward together.
Ron built his business not just with vision, but with values, integrity, trust, faith. Every leader faces setbacks, but what separates the good from the great is how they respond.
Yeah, this goes back earlier in my career, and it was all self-induced, really. I mean, I was the kind of leader. I was too intense, too driven. I was not hiring right, the right people. I was not treating the people I did hire correctly. I wanted it, too bad, and it came out not in healthy ways. And I had to do a lot of self-reflection. And at the time, the sales group that I was head of was struggling. I was struggling. I was frustrated. They were frustrated. This was before I was named president. And I really had to take a look in the mirror and say, are you the kind of person you would want to work for? Would I want a leader like me? And the answer was no. I was not the leader I wanted to be. I was not the husband at the time I wanted to be. I was not the friend I wanted to be, the employee. And I had to stop and go, I'm doing this wrong. I'm pushing all about numbers on a spreadsheet and results, and I'm not caring about people. And I did care about them, but I certainly wasn't acting like it, and I certainly wasn't showing them. And I was not putting them before the numbers. So even though I cared about them, I wasn't putting them before the numbers. And so I had to really kind of take a time out on myself and say, what kind of leader do you want to be? And I had to step back and say, look, I'm going to pour myself into people first, worry about the numbers later. The numbers are important, but what I found is if you pour into people, if you truly care about people and you work to help them, at the end of the day, the numbers will be there. So it's not, we talk, and we use that to this day. We talk about a care plus performance culture we have, which is we care about our people tremendously, but we also want to perform. We want to build a company. So when you blend those, when you coach, you develop, you teach and coach and care, the numbers will be there. And that's important. They're there. If you only care about the numbers, you're not going to be a leader that anybody wants to follow. If you only focus on the care, which means you try to make everyone happy, but you never challenge them to grow, to be better, coach them, then they're not going to develop and we're not going to get where we want. So blending that together. And so early on in my career, that moment was a watershed moment for me. I was either going to wash out of Service Express, who knows, go with my career, or I needed to change. And the change was me. It wasn't my team. It wasn't others. I had to change my approach. And when I changed that, everything changed for me. And it's still something I have to be aware of as a leader today, because I have a lot of energy. I'm pretty intense. I have to, as my wife will tell me too, I have to watch my intense tone. It comes across sometimes, that way. And I have to watch my delivery, because if I don't do it right, if I go overboard, it pushes people away. And I had somebody here, one of my executives that works with me, said, your energy is infectious. You never have to try to ramp it up, because when you go too much, now it becomes too intense, and now we kind of don't move and we don't perform at our best. And so I have to continuously watch that. I think as I've gotten older, it's helped a little bit, but it's still what I have to watch. But that was a crucible in my career that if I didn't change, I wouldn't have been here, and I wouldn't be part of this great group of people that we have today. So self-reflection is a big trait that I look for in leaders. Are you self-reflective in who you are and how you're performing, and can you make the necessary changes and continue to evolve?
For Ron, vulnerability isn't weakness. It's courage in its purest form. So what does it really mean to break free? For Ron, it meant letting go of fear, of ego, of the pressure to have all the answers. To break free is to trust, to walk by faith, and to lead with love. Ron's story isn't just about business, it's about impact, purpose, legacy. In a world chasing titles and trophies, Ron Alvesteffer chose something greater. He chose to break free.
That's all for today's episode of the Break Free podcast. Head on over to iTunes and subscribe to the show. Starting your own business can be tough, but it doesn't have to be. Visit davidmansilla.com to pick up a copy of the #1 international best-selling book, Breaking Out of Corporate Jail. Expand what you consider to be possible and reach your full potential. And join us on the next episode.